You guys are awfully quiet here. Nothing? Didn't agree with any piece of it?
No, I do.
Which piece?
Well, I'm with you. It's very admirable to want to make every kid do every assignment. I like that idea, but I haven't figured out how you.
Do you have to do every assignment?
No, but that's kind of what I'm thinking
right.
in my mind.
So that's so. What about that? Do you like, and how
ties
could?
Into what? Into
Right. Correct. There's a lot of overlap between these two, right? For sure.
Like, I'm okay. I don't want to sit here and regrade every quiz that you took, but I would be happy to let you retake the summative, because that's what we're trying to get to. So, like, if we're moving through the unit and you bomb a quiz, well, how about you fix what's on that quiz for the summative, and then, you know, if you're still not there, then I have more of an okay with letting you retake the test. Or redo the
So
test.
that's the piece.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
You agree with that concept?
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay. Carmi.
And that also helps me on a personal level, because I can't, let 150 kids stay out every.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
I think there has to come a time when you say you're done. And that's what none of the researchers I hear
Incorrect. Hopefully
ever get to.
speak to you. If you haven't had a chance, if you're already switching, that's okay. If not, if you let the other person speak, if you haven't done that yet.
There has to be a point where we say, done. I can't take another redo, I can't do another, there has to be a time when we say, this is a hard and fast deadline.
Okay. Almost maybe we'll get to that. Did you guys both get a chance to share about what you liked? What was it? Any of it? You liked a lot of it, or most of it?
Kids, and it's been the past couple of years that I've changed that mentality.
I switched the questions around.
A lot of my kids, and see what was happening with her kids, and has some of my kids and it's helped me and her both change what we're doing, and a lot of that's because
You to tell me how you
we're here for that.
Okay.
It's not here to record a grade.
Right.
It's not here to,
I have spent 9 weeks trying to get
it's understanding. We're not teachers.
contacted
We're teachers, we're guidance counselors, we're parents, we're everything else, especially at our school.
because
There's so much more than just teachers here that
You like the intervention piece,
and I still have kids
trying to get the kid to come back to it.
that's what I told her.
So
3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, I assigned 38 of my LP2 trick kids 2 days of detention every week for the
and I
next
don't know what
week.
you do with that.
And I did that because it was
to get them to come do
if
this,
you're not going to figure it out.
And right now I have my
right?
But now a lot of them have said, even though I don't have detention anymore,
You'll still do
coming
it.
once or twice a week because I see, hey, I got a 48 on my first test, I got a 90 on my second
but
test.
for me,
Maybe you can share that in a second. Has everybody had a chance to share a little bit?
It wasn't that much.
I don't want to rehash everything that you guys talked about right now, but anyone want to volunteer to say, like Danny was just talking about some really good stuff, and share just a little bit about what you really latched onto from that video or your current practice, something somebody else is doing with this.
Well, what I was saying was, I didn't actually disagree with most of what he said. And what I was telling him is what I just had to do with my Algebra 2 trig kids who are supposed to be the smarter ones. I had to assign 38 of them academic detentions. They had to stay after twice a week, every week for 4 weeks. And they were told, if you miss a day, it's a referral. And you got to talk to your administrator about what's going on. And it was because I laid it out to him as, if you're not going to figure it out, if you're not going to understand what you need to do to be successful in the college prep course, I'm going to figure it out for you. I'm going to show you. And they got assigned the detentions. I didn't have any one of the 38 kids miss a single day. And they asked me at the end of last week and yesterday if their detentions were done. I said, yeah. And they're like, well, I'm still coming because some of them went from getting a 48 on their Unit 1 test to getting an 80 and a 90, and it's harder material on the second test. And they finally are catching the clue, this is what I'm going to have to do to be successful. And now they're starting to take that ownership of making sure that they're successful.
Because that speaks to the intervention piece, I think, that Wormley was talking about, and that takes some time. And some teachers either maybe don't have that time to give, or it's a little more than what they're doing now, and so that's understandable. But that they're getting they're showing how well they're doing as a result. Is that what you're basically trying to say, if I hear? Anybody else want to share something that they really latched onto in that particular, Carrie?
Not to demonize the failure, because sometimes we are their support system, us as teachers. So I learned a little bit last week about, maybe a student that I thought was just a slacker and just didn't want to do his work. But then after keeping him after school, realized it's just amazing that he makes it to school every day with what he's got going on. So sometimes we are that support, and we need to give them that second chance and that hope that the other video talked about.
Okay. Did anybody struggle with the what Danny was talking about with the time piece? That's a lot. Go after those kids.
I agree with everything, but just my life is so, I'm not trying to make this about me, but it's just, I don't know, I'm trying to wrap my brains with ways to do this without it being, I don't have a lot of time to, we all say the same thing, we're all in the same boat, but
Well,
I'm trying to come up with solutions in my head. Okay, how can I work this?
Okay.
Where they're still getting that benefit with them having, to put all the time more to myself too.
Well, I can help with my kids. What ended up happening is they actually built their own collaboration. There were a lot of times after school, I was just a babysitter. I sat at my desk doing my own stuff, and the kids just moved the desks in the room on their own. They put them back perfectly, amazingly. But they would move the desks on their own. They would sit together, and they were helping each other. The brighter kids, I had to kind of initiate it. But there were times I would be at a PAC meeting. I'd come back, and there's 25 kids still sitting in my room working. And they've been working the whole time. I'd walk up, I'd check some of their work. Everything was, so they took ownership. It was just giving them that catalyst to take the ownership, to helping each other.
Okay. That's something different than maybe what I'm going to put there for you. I'm going to adjust a little bit on the fly. I didn't want to show you all of this one because one has got a part 2 to that. And I'm gathering the feedback in this room, and let me know if I'm wrong, that what I've heard in talking to teachers and gathering the feedback just in that manner is that the time piece, I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot. This sounds like a lot of time. And what this video just says, I was only going to show you the first couple of minutes to where he says, it's one important thing he says, it's at teacher discretion. He's like, you don't have to make it unlimited. It's not, if you don't want to go as far as what Danny's doing, okay. Is there something else you can do within the construct of your grade book that you feel comfortable trying to let the kid do that? He goes on to say things like, I allow redos and retakes on a lot of these assessments all the way up until the last week of the 9 weeks. And he tell my kids, he's like, I need that for my family, for my sanity. I need to have that. I don't allow him to just turn all that work in that last week of the grading period as a way to protect himself from having too much time. So I've put together a couple of strategies. So I'm going to skip this because I think you guys are already there on that piece. I don't think we need to see that. But here's a couple of ideas, and these are just ideas. If you're one of those people that likes to have something in front of you and say, instead of it's just too theoretical right now, I can't wrap my brain around it. So some of the suggestions I've put down here are things like only allow redos and retakes if the students have demonstrated they're better prepared to take the assignment. I think, Ashley, we talked about that just last week.
Yeah, I'm doing that next week. I already come from the plan. I'm not letting them take the test the first time until they hand me a completed study guide.
Right.
They have to come in the door. I'm checking them when they come in the door, and they are not taking the test until that study guide is complete.
And so you're almost proactively,
I'm
right?
hoping that's going to reduce the amount of kids that fail the first time, because I'm tired of that. So.
Right. Okay.
And if they show up with it not done, they're sitting there and doing it.
So I don't know if that's
and then
technically a retake,
No,
but it's
but
along the same.
It's going to lower my number.
It's a pre-do, right? Okay, but it's in the vein of this strategy. So yeah, some of those things like that. I know there are teachers that require, like you just can't come and retake it. You have to do something. You have to demonstrate to me that you've done something about it before you do that. The second one is what I was talking about, kind of what Wormley said. Establish your parameters for where you're allowing this stuff to take. It doesn't have to be everything and anything the kid wants to retake. So you tell them, this is what you can redo. This is what you can retake. I want to say, I've seen some teachers talk about this concept that you encourage redos and retakes by simply marking incomplete on an assignment or a test maybe even and saying, no, you're not there yet. What I would do, because I imagine, you might, if it was a test and the kid got a 60, and you mark incomplete on his test, I would write the 60 down somewhere, put it in your grade book somewhere where they can't see that. So like if you ever push came to shove and they didn't end up redoing the assignment, I guess you had a grade to fall back on that they did. But don't let the kid know that. Let him think that he has to, man, I'm not there yet. You tell him, I think you can do better. I'm pretty sure you can do better. Come back and let's keep working on this. You can do stuff that, I know some of you, anybody disaggregate their tests, their assessments in here and do that? Ashley does as well. So if you find that they've only missed this one concept, why don't you just reassess them on that? The redo is just that. So it doesn't take as much of your time. Find out what they do and then give them the credit for that instead of doing the whole assignment. And then lastly, the one on there is alternative ways to demonstrate. Wormley talks about in the second video, which I'll email to you in case you want to watch it, is that you can do, you're the teacher. You know when the kid knows it. You're the professional expert. So if you think I can just simply orally quiz you, I'm sure Carrie's now got it. I sat there and she came up to my desk and we had a conversation about the topic, and what she said demonstrated to me that she understands what it is that she didn't know before. I, as the teacher, can feel comfortable giving that. So it doesn't have to require all of your time to do that, is the point of some of these strategies. Yes, Bridget?
One of the things that we were talking about, and maybe one of y'all have a better answer for us, when we give a retake, because I haven't been given retakes, so let's say a kid got a 72 and a kid got 54. And we say if you got 70 or below, you can take a retake. So they come and take it and they get a 96. Do you record that 96, or do you say 70 is the highest grade? Because the kid who got a 72, he could probably come retake it too.
See, that's why I don't put a limit on
Yeah.
retake. If a kid gets an 85 and they're like, no, I want a 90, I want an A. But now I limit mine is my kids are allowed one retake a quarter on a test.